3 units, you will learn data mining, and the last 2 units is web mining. And these are the textbooks. I uploaded all these textbooks in your Google Classroom. All the 5 textbooks were uploaded. You can download them. And yes, I gave you a brief introduction about what is data, information, and knowledge. So data with the context is said to be the information. And from the information, if you could derive some new information, that new information generated is said to be the knowledge. Okay, so we defined the data mining, extraction of knowledge from large amounts of data. So we use certain tools for mining the knowledge from the data. Few examples such as mobile service providers, so where we can apply data mining, and in retail sector, in e-commerce, crime prevention, in healthcare management, and in banking sector. And these are few online companies that use the data mining techniques. Yeah, so these are the course outcomes. So you should identify the appropriate data mining algorithm given a real world problem, which algorithm should be applied for solving this problem. And next, you should have clear idea about classification, prediction, clustering, association rule mining, so regression. All these are data mining techniques. After the completion of this course, you will, these are the outcomes of your course. And next, we will learn about the web crawling, the page pre-processing, and how to do the page ranking, and how to acquire the data from social networking websites, and how we can apply them for recommendation purpose. So to my knowledge, I've completed till this topic, right? Yeah. Let me share the current topic. Just give me a minute. Yeah, is the screen visible? News PPT. Updated one?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So these are the contents. We'll discuss what is data, types of data sets, and why data mining, and what is data mining, what can be data mining be used for, what is the motivation to study data mining, and how it works, and what are all the different data mining methods. So first is what is data? So we know, we have already studied about this data in our DBMS course. So every one of you learned about this core subject, database management systems. Okay, so what is data? We'll define the data as collection of objects or entities, and each object will be defined by attributes. Okay, so what is an attribute? It is a property or feature or characteristic of an object. So there are different synonyms for the same word. So attribute mainly describes the object. For example, income of an employee, name of the student, age of the student or employee. So all these are attributes. So collectively, all these attributes will describe an object. And there are other names for the object. We can call them as record, point, entity, entry, instance. So several names for that. So here you can see this data with the 3 objects and 5 attributes. 3 objects, 5 attributes. So this is All Electronics customer database. All Electronics is a company or an organization so whose data is considered in your textbook, that is the data mining concepts and techniques. That textbook, which is your first textbook, the others, they considered the data of this All Electronics company. So I have taken the reference from that textbook itself, All Electronics customer database. So this is about the electronic goods sold to the customers. Okay. So this is a fragment of that database. So row ID, age of the customer, income, student, whether the particular customer is student, yes or no, and what about the credit rating of the customer, whether it is fair or excellent. So these are few attributes and these are few objects present in that customer database. Okay, so data here is collection of objects defined by the attributes. So attribute value. So every attribute will be having multiple values. Set of values, range of values will be there from which the value will be assigned to the attribute. Okay, so and the same attribute can be mapped to different attribute values also. For example, if you consider height attribute, you can measure it in feet or meters. So feet is a different mapping, meters is different mapping. So the same attribute height, it can be measured in different phases. So that is the meaning of that second statement. The same attribute can be mapped to different attribute values. Similarly, different attributes can be mapped to same set of values. So different attributes, for example, you consider ID, age, both are integers. So both map to a group of integers. That is same set of values. That is the meaning of that third statement. Yeah. And coming to different attribute classes, we have discrete attributes. This is one classification, one category of attributes. So discrete here refers to countable, an attribute with finite set of values. Okay, so in the next coming classes, you will be knowing about the data sets and you have to work your algorithms on the data set. So before that, you need to have an idea of what are the categories of attributes. Given an data, you should be in a position to identify the type of the attribute, whether it is discrete attribute. We have one more classification, that is continuous attribute, or one more classification is categorical attribute. So we have subcategories in that categorical attribute. Okay, so you need to identify the attribute type. For that, here we will learn different types of attributes. The first one is discrete attribute, attribute with finite set of values. So you can count the number of values of that attribute in a finite amount of time. For example, the amount of money in your pocket, change in your pocket, you can count it, right? The money in your bank account, you can count it. Zip codes, so total zip codes available, you can count it in a finite amount of time. And the number of words in a document, yes, you can count it. So all these are discrete attributes. So these are represented as integer variables. And we have a separate category called binary attributes. This is a special case of discrete attributes. And binary attributes, as you know, it consists of only two values, that is 0 and 1. Okay, it is a special case of discrete attributes. So here I have shown you an image to us understand about the discrete attribute. One is the number of students in a class. Yes, that is countable. It's an integer. We can't have half the student, right? Yes, that is a discrete attribute. And the result of rolling 2 dice. If you roll 2 dice, so we'll have certain numbers as the result. It can be the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. You can count them, right? Whatever the data you can count, that is treated as a discrete. Okay. Yeah. So listen carefully. I'll be giving you a quiz on these attribute types after completion of this topic in today's class itself. Okay. Every class I'll be conducting a quiz. Every one of you should answer it, because all these quiz marks will be considered for your midterm evaluation, midterm 1. Okay. So you have to attempt. Yeah. And the second category is, yeah, wait a second. Second category is continuous attributes. So these continuous data, it refers to unfixed number of possible measurements between two realistic points. Okay, so given 2 points, I mean, you cannot fix the number of values between those points. For example, temperature. Okay, so temperature, here I have mentioned an example, temperature in Guntur. So how can you represent this temperature? It can be 40 degree, 40.1, 40.11, 40.111. So there is no countable value for this. So this kind of data is said to be continuous data. And similarly, height, weight, so length. So all these are often represented using floating point variables. So if you can't count the value in a finite amount of time, then it is a continuous attribute. Okay. And here is a question, that is age discrete or continuous? So if you know about the discrete and continuous data, then we'll immediately answer age as discrete, because age can be 1, 2, 3, 4, like that, 100, age 100. So we can say it as discrete. But we have, see, if you can represent this age as exactly, if you want to represent age exactly, including the time, then yeah, I'm 25 years old, 10 months, 2 days, 5 hours, 4 seconds, 4 millisecond, 8 nanosecond, 99 picoseconds. When it will end? It will not end. Different measurements are there. Okay. So many people argue that age is not discrete, age is continuous. Okay. And one more category. So we have seen a discrete and a continuous, and one more is categorical. So categorical here refers to data with 2 or more categories. Yeah, for example, gender, male, female, 2 categories, right? Color of the hair, so it may be black, red, gray, like that. Weather can be sunny, cloudy, windy, icy, rainy. So we have different categories. Okay. So if we have 2 or more categories, it's mostly non-numerical data. Okay. So if we have 2 or more categories of data, then we treat it as categorical data. And in this, we have 2 subcategories. One is nominal and another one is ordinal. So both are categorical. If there exists certain order between the attribute value